G2, we know that they're not the cleanest team at all times.
Yeah.
Giant X can test some of our top teams as well. Can they get it over the line is the biggest question as G2 versus Giant X go straight into the draft. And yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I thought I could do a better English accent. It just went downhill very fast. I even thought about it too. Maybe I won't next time. So let's just see how we go. G2 blue, Giant X on red, Smolder's off the board. Some guy cheered. And I get the same sentiment there. No one likes this champion. Now that that's gone, I will say Nico as well is something that has just been popular throughout patch after patch. That also off the board makes life a little bit easier for us as we get into that first pick, which could be something like the Senna or the North Dagda. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, I am curious. I mean, look, Senna is always an option. I think G2 definitely a team that likes to prioritize going for that AD carry in this first rotation.
Yeah.
But one of the things that they've tried to go for a lot is a very strong mid jungle, right? And yesterday we saw them try and bring that out against Fnatic with things like the Lee Sin and the Ahri, but I think they're kind of learned their lesson. It was a little bit disrespectful going for it yesterday when the Poppy was still open. This time around though, they're just going to take the Rel, see if they can take something that can flex into making that bot lane, they can give it towards Yike in the jungle, and it looks like they'll be setting up more to go fall back towards what was their plan in winter, more of like a, hey, we'll provide CC from the jungle, let's get damage for Caps in the mid lane. Let him try and carry us.
I think Yike put that tweet out in Start of Spring as well. Like, that's my carry game, guys. It's done, it's dusted. So if we saw Yike take that back into the jungle, we wouldn't be too surprised. For Giant X, on the other side, that bottom lane is as basic as anything. BP in a good mood as we see the Virus once again jump onto the Rift.
Yeah, the thing is though, Ignar has been one of the supports that we actually have seen bring out the Ashe. Now, it didn't look great at times. It kind of got caught out on a couple of occasions, but you just have to be aware of that here because there's a chance Hans Samo wants to go for something like the Draven. I mean, you've already got a good engage tool with your Rail. You're already setting up some decent team fights, so could fall back towards that. But just curious to see exactly if they are a bit worried about Ignar going back towards the Ashe and you get this heavy pushing lane, or if they're just going to go, no, we'll take the Nautilus, we'll take a Draven and just look to fight this Varus in the early stages.
That Ashe is an interesting point. I'll keep an eye on it because at the very least in other regions, you get punished so hard by leaving Ashe open as a first pick. It is first pick worthy, but you were talking on the other side, Draven gets locked in. Okay, Hans Sama special. Do we get some kind of partnership built up now? Again, we still have that flex. We just need to cement what direction they want to go next. Maybe something for Caps.
Yeah, I'm curious if it's just going to be an Orianna or something here. You're already setting up for big team fighting. You're like, hey, look, we still have options for the support role. We can keep that flex there if we want to with the Rel and just make sure that we're able to set up again to answer for what of like the Varus wants to do, what this Maokai wants to do, and just making sure that if Jackie's decides to take a mid lane champion here, we're not getting banned away in the mid lane, but they're going to take the Karma instead and try and keep that flex open. But realistically, when you got the Draven in the bot lane, that Karma is going to be going mid or to top for Broken Blade.
Well, they're cooking through mid on the other side of Giant X. The Tristana locked in to match before stuff starts getting banned away. The English will come through. It's ever since you made me do an English accent now, I just can't speak Australian.
I mean, look, you're part of the Commonwealth. You're
True, I am,
almost there, you know?
but we don't speak English down there anyway, so I don't know. I don't know what you're
I mean, we're the same. It's all right.
True. We do relate
struggle
on that. People struggle to understand us at points. The Nautilus is something I don't struggle to understand because when you see what's available on the board, some of the engage tools, it looks like they think, hey, Yike is taking this into the jungle. Maybe Mickey wants to partner it up with something for Hans Sama's Draven. Nautilus would be the first step. As for Odo, he loses a rumble that he did so well on the other day.
Yeah, and I mean, look, he was kind of the shining light for Giant X on that pick, but just wasn't able to push forward on the pick and get enough of that carry potential going, but not really his fault. I think Giant X, there's a lot of issues with how they want to try and focus on skirmishes in the early stages. We saw a lot yesterday where Peach was getting caught out, where Ignar was getting caught out. It felt like they just weren't really settling into the game particularly well. So especially with his composition like this, which is, hey, we're going double AD carry, we've got a decent amount of range in here. Like, you don't really want to be taking massive early skirmishes against something like a Draven and even the Karma that just spiked significantly earlier. So I think Giant X setting up vision early, preventing G2 from going for these dives on the bot side is going to be key to having success here in this game.
And getting rid of the safe other side of the map, I think, needs to be added in. Giant X going to lose the Gragas up in top. Kasante's open. Just going to put that one out there, especially with double AD carry.
Yeah, I mean, look, Giant X needs to pull out all the stops here. They're 1-4 at the moment. You're coming into your last day of week 2 against G2. And yes, you got Rogue next week, another team that's sitting down at the bottom of the table, but you got Vitality and Heretics as your last few. So you've really got to start bringing out some of these wins. And Udyr, going to be a nice blind pick here in the top side, but looks like they are very much concerned about, hey, what is going to be going into the bot lane? What is Mickey bringing out? And can we make sure that Ignar is going to have some sort of counter matchup there so this Draven can't get rolling?
Well, we're going to find out right now. Remember as well, I mean, we can also have that Maokai down bot side, so there is that flexibility from Giant X to surprise us at the last second as Jax locked in. Okay. That still doesn't answer all questions, Dagda, because that can still be flexed between top and jungle. We still have a support jungle flex coming through from G2. We just have to find out what this last pick is. And again, yuck. Yeah, I know. Agreed. Agreed. I agree. Please no.
No, I don't think we'll see it. Look, I think... Oh, yeah. So what I was going to say is Jax usually comes out as a counter pick to something like the Zenzel or, you know, Viego or something that kind of wants the skirmish early and is very auto-attack based. So I think it's just going to be the blind Jax into the top side. Or, well, not blind, but the Jax into the top side to match up against the Udyr.
Yep.
Zenzel going in towards the jungle. And then on the opposite side, there is that opportunity if you want to flex them out kind of to the bot side, but I think you're happier here to just put him into the jungle and then go for something like the Braum, because all you need to do is survive this bot lane matchup, and you've got really good setup once you hit this like post 6 Maokai Braum. We can look for these big team fights with a solid front line there.
Sure.
Whereas for G2, it's going to be trying to play off of, hey, we got pushing bot, pushing mid in these early stages. Can we try and invade on this bot side and start to disrupt that from Giant X and look for those terror dives in the bot lane and just give BB that time to scale and top.
And I will say on that last Braum pick as well, the other good thing outside of part of the engage is the disengage that Giant X now have to provide as well. When you have double AD carry, when you really put value in spacing, I feel like things like Braum, Maokai, even the Udyr to add that in as a caveat, feels nice for Giant X. So there's some good things that have been rounded out here for the draft. But for G2, when you talk about aggression, when you talk about the 2v2 that I think is doing a lot better at the start of this split, I am a little bit worried that Hansama and Mickey X will get off to the races.
I mean, they've had a bit of a mixed bag, let's be real, right?
It's like, better than Winter, because Hansama, it wasn't a mixed bag in Winter. It was just a bad bag, okay? This one being a mixed bag, I think the point stands, it is slightly better, but you're right, it's been up and around.
Up and down?
Up and down, there's the wording. Yeah. Oh, you shouldn't have made me speak English.
I do think, though, like, this is where G2 are kind of putting pressure on themselves to get the ball rolling. I do think when you get to the later portion of the game, it's, like, kind of hard for Jackies and Patrick to operate, like, double AD carries into Zinzao, into the Jax, can make it a little bit more difficult. You got a ton of speed up and a lot of backline threat thanks to Karma. So I definitely think Giant X, if they can, like, try and slow the game down and find these little moments to get small advantages, whether it be it like, hey, maybe we can cross map a little bit and get boy grubs or avoid early fights. I think that's the best way to do it, but it's going to be hard. I think a lot of G2's focus is going to be on Hansama and getting this Draven ahead.
Once we get into Summoner's Rift, let's watch bot side intently as always. When was the last time we didn't look at bot? Let's be real. It's always about it, isn't it? As we get in, 4-1 versus 1-4 seems cut and dry, but it's G2. G2 aren't dry at all. These guys are just, I don't know, just the usual regular season dudes, aren't they?
The English is tough today, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Yeah, we'll get there. I had a cup of tea, to be fair. So that'll get us started up, especially for the last 3 games of the day, which are going to be ramping up as well. Now this one, I mean, this could get G2 closer to Fnatic, as their first loss came at the hands yesterday of said team. But a win here will push them up and tie them, theoretically, as Rogue and Mad Koi will be after this as well. I mean, again, there's a lot on the line for today to round out this second week of LEC. And if you are new here, much like myself, I can tell you it's a 3-week split. So it is over as quickly as it kind of began, which means that every win counts. And I hate saying that. It's a bit cop-out, isn't it? But it is actually very true.
I mean, definitely for the seeding, trying to see if you can get yourselves up towards that top 1, top 2 spots. So you end up having to avoid some of the teams that you want to try and get out of your pool, but we'll have to see exactly, because realistically I think it is a case of, for this big game in particular, Giant X trying to avoid going into that bottom 2 spot, not making it to playoffs.
True.
Because this is a team that just barely skirted in Winter, but
they had to play Rogue that last tiebreak, well, that last important game, I should say, at the end of last season. You definitely don't want to be the anchovy of the LEC, do you? You know, the
salty,
just left at the bottom. Like, some people like you, but a lot don't. They don't choose to put you on the pizza.
Yeah, because greatness is dressing, you know.
It is actually really good, and in mashed potatoes, surprisingly enough as well. Really good with steak. So don't diss too much on anchovies. Broken Blade just gets smacked hard. I mean, Odo, great start to this game with a big trade against BB, and it's going to happen again, by the way, thanks to Grasp. BB just has to sit here and watch. Yeah,
BB had a bit of a shocker yesterday, to be honest, against Fnatic. Not having a good time at all in the Gwen, even into the counter matchup. Now, look, he did get camped a little bit in the early stages, but, you know, having the solo kill by Oscarnan as well, yoinking him out from underneath his tower, was not the best of looks for BB. So, sure. Already getting pushed out by Odo Omne, like, you kind of have to respect the power of this Udyr, especially with the Doran's Ring start on this top side. And you see now, because the low health BB has, actually, Odo messing up to push a little bit there because the heavy trades he had. So, would have liked this wave to crash just outside of tower range, so he could have easily shoved this in, and then maybe even look for fourth wave, reset, pick up a nice little back for himself where you can pick up like an early cloth armor or boots or whatever you're kind of feeling in this matchup. But BB actually letting it crash in here a little bit, so won't be able to go for that too much here.
But our eyes move down towards bottom side because while junglers won't pay attention to what the wave state's doing top, they will down bot, especially with our focus on G2's Hansama and Mickey X. But Patrick and Ignar, always a threat of being dove. As you see, Peach has made his path down here as well. The junglers should meet if any shenanigans happen in the 3v3, but at the very least, you think about the early access of damage and what could happen.
Yeah, but you can see here, like, you're already really set up for it. Ward here as well, coming in for Giant X. They were just trying to make sure there was absolutely no way that G2 could either, one, go for some sort of invade, or two, look for the dive. And I think that's why Yike goes for the full clear instead. So you kind of go, oh, the worst of it is past at this stage. Yike mustn't be down here, but will be spotted. Oh no, actually not going to go through, but at least we'll be able to pick up the Scuttle Crab here, and maybe they look for some sort of off-timer where they can actually look for invade off of this push on bot side, but it's a little bit more difficult as full clear is already done, and you just don't have the wave state to really force Patrick and Ignar to not come and fight as well.
It's weird looking at LPL this morning, like, it is a completely different region, you know, like, more aggressive dive, happens a lot earlier as well. The jungle pathing matters a lot more as well, not just in the region, don't worry. More so talking about the fact that, like, flipping the game 50-50 can happen a lot more as well. This is not that, though, is it? This is good timing from Yike, but spotted out by a ward. Odo is playing super patiently with the wave. And as he steps back up, I mean, they're going to know that Odo Amne has actually ward that Pixel Brush.
Yeah, I don't think it's too much. It's a bit of a trade on the bot side here. Both teams, imagine going to back away. Hans just wants to try and crash this wave so we can actually get a reset off and get some mana back. But yeah, I think Yike on the top side as well, just giving BB an opportunity to set up the wave state for himself. It is going to start to push out, but you can see Yike really wanted to reset. Got double Scuttle for himself, so a little bit of an advantage there. Will be moving back up towards this top side, so should be there to try and support BB as this comes in. But Peach reset quicker himself and is now making his way up towards this top side. Will be spotted by the ward there.
Yeah, the one that Yike put down just before he left, so... Again, it is a counterplay from G2. As the early game's going slow, guys, don't worry. It might only be 5 minutes in, but I think we need to talk a little bit about what happens at 6. I think especially for Giant X, right? We've got a lot of lockdown that starts brewing at 6 as well. Maybe some of these skirmishes start brewing up too because of how confident that lockdown will come through. But now, even without it, I mean, Yike is willing to contest these grubs that are started up by Peach, but you look at mid, Dagda. I mean, what can you do when Peach comes in, gets a little bit of a smite, not too bad. Yike re-engages here as Odo starts walking down, but BB just teleported in, so the rest of the grubs should be going over to G2.
Yeah, Peach was waiting for a smite to come back up. It was up just before Yike's there to manage to smite that one away. And BB going to be putting the hurt onto Odo Amne, who didn't get his reset in, so this could actually set up for a bit of a dive opportunity. You can see Yike immediately is like, hang on a second, the war comes down from Odo, Peach is long gone. Yeah, Odo has to give up all this wave now because they're just going to chase him out of the top side.
Peach isn't coming back. He's not turning around. Odo walks back, and with that TP available, yes, that's great. He can get back to lane and capture some of this cannon minion wave, but stopped again. Yike shows his face. One plate's already gone. And Dagda, look at this wave being thinned out with another one crashing in. About half of that's going to be gone before Odo can teleport back in.
Yeah, and he even have to be careful about TPing back in because I wasn't sure if there's going to be like the push from Caps in mid lane and maybe he starts to roam up and you go for the 3-person dive on him right as he gets back to lane. But yeah, there's been a bit of an unfortunate start here for Odo where doesn't get the wave crash in the manner that he wanted to because he was trading so heavily with BB, and then as well missing out on that big wave is actually setting the Udyr quite a bit behind when it comes to just where BB will get to a point he outscales in that 1v1 matchup.
I mean, we've seen the capacity of Jackson teamfights versus Udyr as the game goes on. We know Udyr is this big laning bully who loves playing the proxy game as well and gets opportunities like this. Now for BB, he teleported in before, made that opportunity to back himself. Will miss a couple of minions on his return, but captures the rest of this for experience as well. One plate given over to Odo as the trade in topside. Well, junglers still haven't had an influence in lane. That was the most we've seen out of any so far with Yike just bullying off Odo Amne's reset. But now that he's bot side, now that he's getting towards level 6 Dagda, and especially with Peach on the Maokai as well, I just want to see if there's any change in what junglers are able to inflict in this early game, because so far it's just been about laners being isolated.
Yeah, Peach is just going to match Yike in the bot wave here. Yike trying to make sure that he could try and punish Ignar and Patrick as his wave was going to crash in, but Peach being here makes that quite difficult. But Hans and Mickey going to be able to pick this one up. Peach has the reset that he got in just before this as well, so he's happy out.
Oh, hang on. Odo thought he could take this on for a trade. BB just ulties out in response. Good stun up as BB still with the flash available, but Odo walks it out. His ghost is there too. Broken Blade hits 7, and Odo pays the respect. It almost got a little bit dicey.
If both junglers are still on this bottom side with their camps on top, so you can see Yike has already said, look, I've had enough of this. I want to try and start clearing out and maybe even move up towards this top side of the map. So he'll be a little bit quicker if they want to try and get up towards this top end of the map and maybe look for a dive. But again, it's like the bot lane falling slightly behind here just with the pressure that Mickey and Hans have in this matchup. So Peach trying to rectify that by sticking around for a very long time on this bot side of the map, but he's not really getting anything.
Both junglers again. It's just been watching through. Yike, I mean, topside, in comparison to that point, will be taking away some of Peach's jungle camps. And as you said, Peach delaying enough time where his topside now under threat. Jackies has to start scouting this out. Control Wall will see the Tristana move, and at least he'll be able to take that. But with Caps constantly having push, Yike just continues taking the top side completely.
And you can't really go for any sort of counter play here if you're Peach, because yes, you can take your bot side, but trying to go and aggressing onto the red side is going to be incredibly tough, as Handsome and Mickey will have to bounce back in that bot wave.
Yep.
Craps has kind of hit a point of critical mass with the Lost Chapter where he'll just be able to clear out the wave pretty consistently, although Hans kind of low. Patrick going to take a love tap there as it goes out, but I don't know, going for this red could be a little bit risky, although Jackie's does have push and Hans being as low, maybe they do feel comfortable enough to just try and push them off the spot side tower.
Cleanse available for Hans if he walks back in. The Whirling Death was used to clear the wave as we're reaching maximum capacity topside. Yike and Broken Blade are now going to become a duo as Odoamne pushed this out. He has Ghost available, but Wind becomes Lightning. Should tag him down. There's the Ghost looking for the knockup flash. Ulti, jump back in. Broken Blade first blood. As clean as that, and a great punish from G2.
Yeah, big pickup for the kill onto BB. He's going to be in a great spot now to start putting that herd onto Odoamne even more so than he was already. Giantx going to respond though, not by taking camps, but by going for the Dragon instead, since they'd force Handsome and Mickey away. But that's a big win for Giantx as well, because realistically, if they can take this one a little bit slow, find opportunities where maybe they don't have to go and aggress for every Dragon, they're going to be in a good spot. Mickey will spot them out here. But yeah, I mean, the fact that Hans and Mickey losing out in the 2v2 cost them actually a little bit here for G2, because if they hadn't lost that much health, the Giantx wouldn't have been able to go for the Dragon on the backside play.
Yeah, so it starts to stacking, and again, bottom side for G2 is still very important, so a bit of a counterpoint there for Giantx to take something away from G2 is, but that top side, let's kind of balance it out, because BB now with a Phage and Sheen on top of that as well. This Jack's getting closer to the Trinity Force and nice and early with a small gold lead over his counterpart Odoamne. And while Yike finally gets that first gank off of the game, while G2 have a 1k gold lead, for Giantx, the fact that bot is just chilling for the time being has to be great when you're going up against a Draven.
Yeah, this is the problem though, right? Because so Peach just ticked over to level 7. He has no camps on his side of the map because Yike took all of his ones on top side.
True.
Now Yike gets to move back into his own bot side, and he can basically stick around here for the next like minute and a half, right? He can do a camp, go for a play on bot. Do all of his camps, go for a play on bot. So you have opportunities here to try and punish the fact that Peach shouldn't really be on this bottom side because Yike has cleared out his top side. So G2, I wouldn't be surprised to see them with Mickey coming back into lane here to try and go for some sort of dive or some sort of play on mid, especially even Jackie's resetting here. Going to give Caps push on mid, and suddenly you're going to have 4 members underneath this bot tower on the bottom half of the map.
Maybe just getting tagged on the back end of this trade as well. We keep looking at topside. Observer loves the Udyr and Jax going at it, to be fair. If I hadn't seen Udyr a million times, I'd probably agree with it as well. As Yike's coming through here. Okay, Mickey set up for the engager. Level 6 with Magnet Storm dagged up. But again, how does Yike get in? Needs to wait for the minion wave. Good ward in lane by Ignar, just placed down. The spot if Yike continues creeping up.
Yeah, it looks like Yike actually just going to reset. So Peach is still on this bottom half of the map, trying to see if he can cover for what you'd expect is Yike set up here on the bot side. But again, it's kind of just Peach wasting time. He has no camps to try and pick up here. He picked up, I think it was his Wolves on the back half, but there's nothing really else available, whereas Yike is like, cool, I can stick around here. I don't have any camps up and available, so I can spend my time on this bot side. And then I get to move back in to this top end of the map. I can pick up the Void Grubs as they start to respawn. You'll only give them 4 in the grand scheme of things. Not going to be like the one that gives you the little Void Mites that can help you push towers, but still going to be a nice little bit of experience and also a little bit of control that G2 can have, especially for BB, who already has his Triforce.
Especially when, you know, for Yike, if he's able to pull that out, 20 CS lead already on the jungle. Like, Yike has just been creeping up ever so slowly. We've been watching the invades and what has been a very slow game. Very slow, bloody game. the opposite of bloody, slow bloody Dagda. That crash down didn't work out for Mickey. He's not going to get over the wall, but he's still not going to get punished for it, as looks like for G2, ever so creeping up to the top side where they had vision around those grubs could be the next plan of action, while BB is just whacking down a turret. And he's going to be able to pick up yet a second plate, a third plate in total, if you're counting holistically. As Mickey, thinking about the engagement for Giant X, they back away. Nothing to fight over in this bottom side in the meantime.
I think a lot of that is just trying to stop Giant X from being able to move in and get control over this bot side jungle. It's pretty obvious that Peach and Ignar have completely lost track of where Yike is, because they weren't sure if Yike was going to show up, and suddenly they do have numbers advantage, or at least an even numbers shot for G2, but Mickey definitely doesn't have the numbers that he needs, so he's got to back away. But Patrick...
What are you going to get after this?
So, this is the actual problem that I've had with Giant X over this weekend, is just they've been so inconsistent when it comes to communication.
Yep.
Like Patrick, or Ignar and Peach were consistently getting caught out separated yesterday. Today, Patrick clearly wanted to try and go on to that play, but Peach and Ignar had already left. It feels like there's a lot of miscommunication on how we want to try and operate in the game. And even here, right, like Patrick and Ignar have had several moments where they pushed in a bot. We haven't seen them link up with Peach to try and get vision in that bot side jungle of G2. So it makes it easier for Peach to go, hey, Yike isn't here, I can actually go and clear my camps, but they want to fight.
Is this coordinated? This time a little bit more. CC chains up. Mickey X is taking the damage, though, as Caps jumps in the backline with Yike. I mean, G2 have already traded this off. It's the first kill for Giant X, but Jackie's now has to get out. Patrick has to get out. It's a cash in for Hans Sommer. And now running for his life, scared. It's Ignar with a flash out as well. Caps has got this lockdown in the bag. Jackie's, you're up next as he crashes away. G2 have just picked up 4 kills. Make that 3, excuse me. And now following through, I mean, Odo Amne has to get something, doesn't he? But Jackie's is about to die. He's burning down, flash away from Caps. Jackie's lucky to be alive. But G2 just gave kills over to Hans Sommer, and the early game is off.
And they got top tower, and you're trying to get damage from BB up there as well. Hey, Odo trying desperately to make something happen here. Hans Sommer.
But every time he catches an axe, he can press W again. He has to flash away, though, as Odo is too close to comfort, and Jackie's just teleported for this.
Yeah, he's still got the Maokai, though, moving down onto this bot side as well, so may have a numbers advantage here for Giant X if they want to try and go for a dive, or at least try and force a second dragon for themselves. So nicely done in response from Giant X of what had been a bit of a disaster of a play when they went for that initial fight.
I'm looking at a Dagda, and I'm saying at least you get the turret, that's good. But they're still down 3,000 gold
Mickey,
and a bit. Mickey, are you so fine? Well, the level 7 Rel, probably not. He's just dead. They're trying to give it to Jackie's. They do so successfully, and that is some gold back on. But again, is that BB about to get in a turret?
Yes.
Oh, dear Lord. He's up 2,000 gold. Yeah, 4,000 for G2. And every time we're like, oh, Giant X are trading, that's cool. But the problem is, G2 got a cash in. G2 just got the kills in the last play as well. BB has opened up the top side, and in a turret at 15 minutes is absolutely disgusting. And Jax is now just set up for side lane success.
Yeah, I mean, Giant X just feel like they're panicking in a lot of situations where it's, hey, we need to try and get Odo Omni down to this play, but we'll see it as it kicks off, right? Mickey spots Peach, doesn't actually land the crash down, but you're already in a pretty decent spot here because look at the Tristana. Jackie's just zoned out from this fight for the majority of it. Can't get in. Eventually does dive in to get the finish off on towards Mickey, but means that you're now in the thick of things. Hans Sommer's able to get a ton of damage off and just not really under pressure.
Again.
Now, again, yeah, they're going. Caps is no flash.
He is isolated as well. Nature's Grass going to get a double route down as Caps tries to get damage on his way out, but he's helped out. There's not enough damage to follow through on this mid laner of G2 as a Magnet Storm is in melee range, but look, GX going into a choke. They've got to shut down. That's the start, but the problem is Hans Sommer's now here. Whirling Death 2.0 gets yet another catch in as he runs on in, but going into melee probably ain't it. Hans just lets that lie, and Dagger, I'm just confused what happened.
BB didn't show up, so you had 5 members of Giant X that were in that position, whereas only 4 members of G2. BB will get the tower, but it'll be trade on the top side, so massive turnaround play for Giant X on that one. Just having those extra few people there, they're able to turn it around.
Very confused very quickly. Maybe just me today is you still got Draven with another kill. Hansan was able to cash in yet again, but BB, what is happening in his side lane? He's just playing PvE this game. And as he gets another inner turret, he is 3,000 gold ahead. So that's why I'm confused, because even though Giant X, we're talking about the plays they're making. Oh my God, Jackie's is fed. Is it going to matter? Is anyone going to be able to talk to Broken Blade this game?
I don't know, and they don't even get the Riptide off the back, but you see the engage here, right? Odoamne had actually come across here, so this is a 4 versus 5 for all intents and purposes, and they're trying to play into this choke, but you can already see, like, Odoamne, very tanky, already had the Frozen Heart completed, so kind of difficult to take down, and Sam isn't even really in a position where he can actually contribute, apart from the ultimate and 1 or 2 autos here, and then I think, again, Mickey just way too far forward to cash this out. Now, BB does respond on the bot side, right, where he gets the 2 towers, so Broken Blade is huge, but we're going to have a refight over this Rift Herald, because honestly, if you get Rift Herald, you can take mid lane tower, and with how fed BB is, it's going to be very difficult for Giant X to try and compete on that side lane turret.
So again, we'll just watch the summoning usage here because he's playing in lanes that are very, very long, so not sure if he can walk up as Chains of Corruption hits Han Summer. There's a cleanse out. Level 10 Draven. Tevin's an interesting word. There's Han Summer. And now without that summoner, Flash is coming up in about 30 seconds, but as Herald gets started, no contestation anymore from G2. They lost a little bit in the progress of it. Never mind, Dagda, don't listen to me. It's happening, isn't it?
I mean, it's a 2-Adam Jax. They want to try and play off of that. And Giant X, where are you going to go?
Han Summer has to walk up, though, remember, as he engages there. Magnustorm's great. BB with a triple stun as well. There's good CC, but they need the damage to get in as now. Han Summer starts firing away, is jumping in. Yike does the same, and BB, it's just that unstoppable, isn't he? No one's been able to walk up to him. No one's been able to talk to him. And Giant X, a small passage of play that looks good, but then G2 start flexing with their wallets.
I mean, again, as G2, they always have these sneaky wards that just get them perfectly into position. And that time, BB following up onto Mickey, he just completed the Sundered Sky, so he was massive coming into this fight and was set up perfectly to set that one up for G2.
Guess who cashed in again, by the way? Summer. We'll look again, because Dagda, I mean, no one's ever touching this Draven, and then no one wants to touch BB because they're like, holy moly, this guy's big.
But this is the problem. Your Maokai ult isn't hitting on to a lot of people because G2 are coming in from multiple different angles.
Yeah.
Then you get that mega stun thanks to BB and Mickey. And Han Sama, yes, takes a bit of damage on the backside, but watch Broken Blade. With a Triforce and a Sundered Sky, no one is really getting any damage onto him, and Giant X just have to try and run away.
It takes everything as well. As for G2, we'll look back at live, and the gold lead now 6,000. I'll keep counting it because we keep seeing things like the cash in, like BB getting more resources now, 3,500 gold over his lane opponent. I mean, this is a level 13 Jax, and in the side lane, unmanageable. In the team fight, maybe unbeatable. Jackie's the biggest damage source, as you said there. No one's really been able to take a bite out of him, a proper one at that.
Yeah, I do like the call here from Giant X, which is, hey, Dragon's up. Not a hope in hell are we contesting this.
Yep.
We just saw what BB's capable of. Cool. Let's try and push inside. Let's try and get mid-tower potentially. Let's make sure that we're getting something for G2 putting resources into this objective. Though, as I say that, they're actually moving Jackie's down.
Do you still like this call?
Not so much anymore.
They're coming.
Okay, there's the Rift Herald actually, yeah. So it's not... I would rather they try and crack up a mid lane tower, but they do need to be careful of like the punch back here because you're kind of isolated here.
Yike, a little bit early there on the Wind Becomes Lightning. Still gets the engage onto Peach. She circles around and sets up that ulti as Peach tries to zone them out. BB is zoning for the time being as the engage from Yike continues again. Teleport was burned by Odoamne to come in as Broken Blade still tries to get the stun. Chain of Corruption now down from Patrick. Look at what Giant X just used. Some big tools there to get into the fight as now the Whirling Death to poke them on the side as well. Caps is running into Jackie's. A dangerous prospect is now for Ignar to stand beside. Gets him away and Broken Blade sends him afar. It's another great stun as nobody knows what to do when it comes to the Broken Blade Inquisition. Jackie's, he's going to be doing some damage, but as
he's still alive.
He's still damn alive. You just can't stop him.
The fact that BB survives that is absolutely disgusting. I thought the Giant X were just going to, right, we have Rift Herald, let's try and make a play either towards top tier 2, we can get a tower for ourselves, like expose that top side a little bit more, get some vision down so we can spot him when G2 go for Baron, but instead, we end up in this position where they end up moving across the mid lane, but that just opens up the opportunity for G2 to collapse on them because they're so close to that Dragon objective. And G2, they just say, we don't really care about it right now. Like, this isn't a win condition from us insofar as just denying it from you. And then Jackie's tries to make the play into Caps, but ends up just baiting the rest of his team in. And BB again, beautiful stun in the back line.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because Han Sama threw out the Whirling Death. And it stopped, and then Peach flashed as it started coming back. He's like, oh my god, I think there's a gut reaction. As yeah, I don't know how BB survives that, but he does. And it just gets from bad to worse for Giant X. And I know we keep approaching, like, we like this from Giant X, we like this play. BB's like, yeah, whatever at this point.
Cheeky grid.
4,500 gold. G2 are up almost 10k, and almost half of it is just from this top lane. And I mean, that came off one gank, and then BB just playing the map better. I mean, Broken Blade, when everyone was grouping around objectives or grouping around some of these fights, Broken Blade's like, nah, I'm not going to join. I'm just going to get 2 inner turrets.
Yeah, especially since, I'm not going to lie, like the TP from Odo Omne didn't really amount to anything, right? He was trying to salvage a play that Giant X had gone for, but I think this is the issue that I've seen from Giant X too often is they want to take these skirmishes in the early game, but they're just not in a position to really go for them, either with where people are positioned in the map or even from a compositional standpoint. Like, you're playing this on-hit Varus, and Jackie's isn't really in a position to try and follow up for mid lane, but they decide to take the early fight. Like, these are the things that are coming back to bite them, and now they'll be going, essentially, if G2 finishes out 1-5, to finish off your third week, and you have 3 not-so-easy games coming up ahead of you.
And I think I identified this Giant X game as what you talked about during the split so far. You know, the lack of coordination, getting together that front line and playing around people like Jackie's Patrick. Because so far, we've seen in this game and through this split that Peach can be unreliable. I think Peach in this game takes a lot of the blame because Yike was out jungling, cross-mapping as well, getting a bit of a lead, but also it was ganks like that bot gank where Peach spent so much time doing nothing, not actually achieving anything in the lanes, that it really hurt the game state for Giant X. So I feel like for G2, Yike has had a bit of a jiffy dippy this one. And look, it sounds harsh on Peach, but I think it is a reality here that it really hurt this game.
And that's the thing, is like oftentimes we talk about cross-mapping as, hey, you cross-map for an objective, but sometimes going for a play in the cross-map could be as easy as, hey, I'm going to get deep vision.
Yep.
And I think that's what was lacking here, was like Ignar and Peach working together when Yike made a play on top to go, cool, I will move into the enemy jungle knowing there's no vision, but now GX in their own base, desperate.
They can't do anything because Caps just nuked Patrick. Holy moly, I thought that was a whirling death to add in, but no, as BP just ignores Odo Omne. That's the Udyr damage, and this is what happens when Udyr doesn't get too much in the game.
100 Sky proc, and his health is all back. Oh, it's miserable. G2 going to get top tower as well, and now Odo's got to abandon mid entirely, because I think G2 might just try and collapse on it, but there goes inhibitor.
One more pick tag. This game's over. This game feels over right now. We know it really is. For Giant X, as they sit in their base and quiver, BB is dealing with 2, now 3 people, all 5 going towards mid as he caves off.
But that's the thing, even if you get BB here and like G2 back off, Broken Blade is so large that you need both Odo Omne and Jackie's to deal with them. So 2 solo laners are going to be drawn to try and deal with BB as he goes, say, to push it bot side, which means G2 automatically have a numbers advantage on the mid tower. Like, this doesn't let up. BB is just so massive and is just playing the game so he can be that carry. Like, he's basically taken, or at least set up, every structure for a G2 with where he's been positioned on the map.
It's been so clinical, and again, a good early game from G2, and we were really slow in this game to walk in. We were slow and I wouldn't say methodical, but nothing was kicking off, and especially in this bottom side. But then one fight, one skirmish, and Hansama gets cash in. It happens again, it happens again, it happens again. And now for Hansama, 3.5 items versus 2 and a bit for Patrick. This is a non-hit Varus member, so he has to walk in to be as significant as maybe his poke variant. And right now, you think, how the hell is Patrick going to walk into that?
You can't. I mean, look, at this stage, it's doom and gloom for Giant X. And I think it is kind of like a case of, hey, we're still seeing a little bit of, at least BB bouncing back. Because yesterday didn't have the best of times against Oscar Innen, took the Gwen into that Cassante matchup, ended up getting Dove once, ends up giving over this solo kill to Oscar Innen as well, and then just becomes irrelevant for the rest of the game. But here, he definitely wanted to make sure that he was bouncing back in today, and honestly, MVP this game. Like, complete control. And the fact that he's had this big of a lead is the only reason, realistically, G2 were able to come out of what was a bit of a messy early game, at least get Hansama some early kills as well.
I think, yeah, that's an important point to note. Like, again, that one individual helps cement as we get an engage from Giant X in front of their base. They do find the pick onto Caps. That's a good start as Exhaust onto Yike might set up for another Bramble Smash, slows things down with the Whirling Death, zones him out as Mickey X gets sent away. That was Jackie's ult as a flash from Yike, saves him for the win despite with the re-engage with the Magnus Storm. Mickey, oh damn you fine! Broken Blade jumps into the backline while Jackie's is doing a bit of work himself, but Mickey survives thanks to Yike, and Broken Blade makes sure no man is left standing in the rest of the fight. Triple kill, that'll become a quadra eventually, and Broken Blade, you beauty. If you don't get MVP, I won't be here next game.
Everyone vote Burhan Sama for MVP. Broken Blade, absolutely take a bow. Fantastic performance, and G2 will be able to clean this one out against Giant X.
How easy was that? As you said, a little bit messy at times, but we know G2 for that in the regular season. But for BB, we see why this man is touted as one of the best in EU. At times like that, he is unbeatable. And for G2 at 5-1, now standing with Fnatic, you can say the same about them.
Definitely a bounce back for G2 after what will be a very painful loss to Fnatic yesterday, but still means they're only going to be in second place. Fnatic now hold the head-to-head, so we'll have to see exactly what next week will pan out for both of those teams and see who'll be able to secure our top spot. I mean, Heretics and Vitality definitely hoping they lose one or two more of those games, but you'll have your player of the game. Vote now at LEC on X, Broken Blade, Yike, or Caps. I mean, you already know where we're heading.
Look, Yike had a good jungle game, guys. If you don't vote for Broken Blade, something's wrong. I don't believe it. We're going to go to a short break, though. But after the break, we do have a very special interview with Finn.